Welcome to another episode on our channel. So I thought I was done with World War II, but something shocked me when I was looking at the data for World War II. And I know numbers are elusive, but in general, I've decided to bring in one more figure due to losses that were suffered in World War II. So we're doing this in stages, and what I really appreciated was how long it took me to get this off. And it took so long because they put this plastic liner around and had taped it on all sides. So it was really challenging to get this piece off. And underneath it is this box that was put together. But the fact that they have this box, the liner, gives me a little more confidence that the box inside of this box is going to be okay. We'll find out for sure. Let me see if I can get this open now. But I noticed there's a lot of tape around the sides. The only thing I can say is, wow. So now I have paper and bubble wrap to go through, which I will try to do quickly. There we go. Another layer. Okay, now we have plastic. All right. Ah, there we go. Finally. All right. So this is Hobby Master. And it is not a perfect box, but I wasn't expecting a perfect box given its age. Triple Ace fighter pilot. And it would be Lieutenant C.E. Bud Anderson. All right. So, and when did this come out? Let's see if we have a year here. 2014. So this is some time ago. So this is piece of history, not only representing a real life person who fought in World War II, but it's piece of history 2014 with an art box that, given some art boxes that I've gotten new that were damaged, this isn't too bad. So here's part of the stand. And here is the figure. All right. So, yeah, and normally if I don't like a head, I'll replace it. But since it is representing someone who literally fought in World War II, it will likely keep the head. All right. So we'll pause and let me get everything else out and see what we have here. We'll be right back. We are back, and I have him in his more formal attire, but we'll also show him with his more battle-ready outfit. On the formal attire, I had to put on all these little tiny things. Started with super glue that didn't work out too well, so I ended up having to use hot glue. I decided to use the more formal medals since, it is a formal outfit, and I think the medals look more cool than the ribbons that you can use to represent the medals. So you have the choice of using medals or ribbons. They represent the same things. This would be for more informal occasions, and this would be for more formal occasions. We'll talk about this when we get some close-ups so that you can see them more clearly. For the battle-ready outfit, he does come with his leather-like jacket, which is really vinyl, and what feels to be like cotton-like elastic material at the end of his jacket and end of the sleeves. Fortunately, no peeling appears to have occurred on the jacket. It's a zip-up jacket, so I wish it was more. I think it would be safer, less prone to fraying or peeling if it was Velcro, but it's a zip-up jacket. That is kind of cool. It has a cool look. The vinyl like material in his visor started to peel off, so I had to touch it up with paint to, to get it back into shape. But he does come with this jacket, like I said. It's brown, dark brown, which matches his pilot helmet with headphones on it. And on that, he could put goggles if he desired to do so. So he has that. And again, we'll show you close-ups in his battle ready uniform after a bit. He does have his breathing apparatus while in flight. All right. And I don't think I talked about his hands. He has 3 sets of hands. This is the relaxed look here. He comes with another set of ungloved hands, a left-handed fist, and a right-handed trigger finger hand. And he comes with relaxed gloved hands. So this would be the more appropriate to the battle ready outfit if he's flying. What's interesting, I do like the shoulder holster, but the handgun itself is actually, it's metal. Was shocked about that. This is made in 2014. It's kind of cool. It has a slide out magazine clip, metal as well. And interestingly, the hammer pulls back. So I don't know if you can see it here, but we'll try to get a close up of that. It does move. It's kind of cool. I don't want to move it too much because you know how these things are. You move it too much, you might break it. He has his life vest in case he would have to parachute up and land in water, so he has a life vest. And of course, his parachute system. All right. So that's the battle ready accessories. All right, so we'll pause and get some close-ups from his feet all the way up to the top of his head with this more formal uniform on, and then we will change him to the more battle ready outfit and do some close-ups with that, and then talk a little bit about him and a little more about the role that the Air Corps played in World War II. So we'll be right back. We are back, and you can see his stand with a nice nameplate on it. It says Colonel Bud Anderson. He went by Bud, but apparently his real name was Clarence Emil Anderson. You see his brown dress shoes. You see his lighter colored pants. And as we go up, you'll see his OD green jacket and relaxed hands on him. You can't see it now, but on his left hand is a watch. You see his belt. As we move up, on his left pocket, at the very top of the pocket, are his medals. I could have used ribbons, and if I had used ribbons instead of medals, instead of at the top of the pocket, the ribbons would have been placed above the pocket. That would be below the wings there. He has, starting on the right side of the left pocket, he has a Distinguished Flying Cross Medal, he has an Air Medal, and then he has a European, Africa, Middle East Campaign Medal. That just basically says that he served during that time frame when those conflicts were in place during World War II. When I was in the military, I received a defense service ribbon, National Defense Service ribbon, I was basically in the military during the Desert Storm time period. So these things represent time periods, conflicts, that sort of thing. So again, distinguish flying cross medal and the air medal. The difference between the two, from what I understand reading about them, is that the first one, the distinguished flying cross medal, represents extraordinary heroic service, whereas the air medal represents meritorious heroic achievements during service. So I think it's just the order of importance in terms of how much of the role he performed during conflicts. You can see the U.S. insignia, the wings on his lapel. When we do the side to side shots, you'll see his rank. In this case, the rank is representing major, and I'll explain why when we get to that point, even though it says colonel at the very bottom. Of course, he's got a lighter shirt on the inside of his jacket, a tie, and then his hat. So there you go. We'll do some side to side shots and then get a close up of his face. We are back, and again, here are the medals. The closest to the midsection is the Distinguished Flying Cross Medal, the Air Medal next, and then the Campaign Medal. The wings above here, wings here, and then U.S. insignia here. We'll see it even when we get closer still. You can see his unit patch on his shoulder, and the rank should be somewhat visible. There's not much to see in the back, so we'll just go side to side here. And now we'll pause and get some close-ups of his head sculpt. We'll be right back. So here is the head sculpt. And keep in mind again that this was a 2014 head sculpt, so it's not as detailed as it could be, but it certainly doesn't look as good as the photographs that I saw on it. So there you go. So here is Bud again with his combat ready outfit on. So we see the stand, we see basically the same dress shoes on, we see the light colored pants. And as we go up, we'll start to see all the webbing for his gear. We'll see his dark brown jacket, flight jacket, a watch on his left hand, life vest. And as we continue moving up, you'll see his breathing apparatus. You can see the straps that are going to go around to his parachute on the back. You see his flight helmet, leather helmet, which is really vinyl, and the goggles. So we'll pause now. We'll do a full rotation so you can see everything on the back. So we're going to do it a bit differently and go from the bottom of his feet all the way up to the top of the back of his leather helmet, so you can see more details in terms of the parachute. For 2014, this is actually a lot of details for this particular figure. And there you go. When I first saw this figure, I saw him with the vinyl, what's supposed to look like leather helmet, really far back on the head. And it kind of made him look a little bit dorky, in my opinion. So I wasn't quite sure if I was going to pose him with this particular leather helmet and goggles, but if you just set it lower on the forehead, he looks great. He looks awesome, I think. So we'll just go side to side so you can see a little bit more. A lot of details here. The more I see him this way, I really am liking the figure. Here's a close-up of this head sculpt with the new outfit on. And there you go. So here's Clarence Emil Anderson, fondly known as Bud Anderson. He entered the military in 1942. If you remember, the United States didn't enter the war in 1939. It was only after the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, that they entered the war. He entered the military in 1942 as a second lieutenant. By the time he was done in 1945, he was a major. By the time he retired from the military, after 30 years of service, he was a colonel. And I should look it up, but I would imagine he might have been a bird colonel. That would be my guess, given how successful he was in World War II. What's interesting about him was that he was not only an ace, but he was a triple ace. So you become an ace after 5 successful aerial assaults or victories, kills, whatever you want to call it. You become an ace. He was a triple ace. He had 16 and a half aerial victories. What's even more interesting about him is that he flew 116 missions altogether, all successfully, which meant he flew to where he needed to go. He did what he needed to do, and he got back safely. All 116 missions. He flew a patrol, a P-51 Delta Mustang, which he nicknamed the Old Crow. Not sure why he named it the Old Crow. I wasn't sure at first why he named it the Old Crow, but I got curious and I looked it up. And apparently it was named after the cheapest bourbon whiskey that existed at the time, Old Crow. So again, he entered in 1942 as a second lieutenant. In 1945, left as a major. 30 years of service, he retired as a colonel. So this is Clarence Emil Anderson, fondly known as Bud Anderson. So here's one last look at our last soldier for the World War II collection. I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, please have a great day. And don't forget about the giveaway gift process that is at the end of this month. If you want to enter, just put entry in a comment section. It's only available to people in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Have a great day.